Welcome to Basket of Tales, a time travel into the world of stories.
Hello everyone, Miss S is back with another interesting story from the tales of Vikram and Bethaal. Bethaal now knows that the inquisitive Vikram would never say no to his stories. He builds his stories in such a way that Vikram is forced to speak up in order to solve the riddle. However, Vikram is someone who would never give up either. Now Bethaal is back with Vikram and he is ready with another story. And this is about Padmavati and Prince Vajramukti. Let's get started. In a far away village there lived a prince named Kashi Vajramukti. He had a best friend who also happened to be his own minister's son. They were very close and would share everything with each other. One bright sunny morning, they both decided to go out on a nature walk. They start walking and after a while they take a short break and relax under a big banyan tree. Suddenly the prince hears some noises. This makes him curious. He quickly gets up and starts looking around. As he walks a little further, he spots few girls playing blindfold near a small pond. The girl who was actually blindfolded accidentally bumps into Vajramukti. And at first glance, he is mesmerized by her beauty and confidence. He gets curious to know more about her and asks her some questions. "Hey, what's your name? Where are you from? What does your father do?" The girl, instead of answering his questions, decides to give him some clues and wants him to find out for himself. Her first clue was she picks up a lotus and smells it, hinting that it was her name. Her second clue, she takes out her earrings and keeps them on her ankle, hinting at the name of the town she lives in. And lastly, she starts grinding her teeth, hinting that it was the profession of her father. The prince doesn't get any of the hints, and so he asks his friend for help. His friend, who is very smart, makes some intelligent guesses. He says, "I think when she was referring to Kamal, she meant that her name is connected to Kamal. So children, Kamal in English is lotus." He says, "There you go. Maybe her name is Padmavati." Padmavati is also another name for Kamal. The second clue was for the place that she is from. His friend guesses was, "I think she first touched her ear and then touched her feet, which means she meant Karanpur maybe." The third clue was regarding the profession of her father. Like we noticed, she was grinding her teeth, which means she was hinting that her dad was a dentist. This amazed Vajramukti. He appreciated his intelligence. Now that they both figured out the answers, they make a plan to visit Karanpur. They both did not want anyone to know their identity, hence they go in disguise. On their way, they meet an old lady, and the old lady offers them lunch. They couldn't say no to her, so they accept her invitation. While having the food, the lady asks them, "Do you know anyone in this village? Are you here for some work?" Vajramukti immediately takes Padmavati's name. This surprises the old lady. She immediately says, "Oh, Padmavati, I was her nanny and took care of her when she was little. Her mom passed away, and so I was appointed to take care of her." With the old lady's help, Vajramukti passes a message to Padmavati, stating that the boy whom she met while playing blindfold had come to meet her. However, she wanted the prince to solve another puzzle before she could meet him. So she applies sandalwood paste with 4 of her fingers on the old lady's cheeks and asks her to go. The old lady follows her instructions and goes back to Vajramukti and his friend. Even this time, the prince is unable to solve the puzzle. He goes to his friend. Vajramukti's friend says, "Those marks are of Chandan." And she put 4 lines. Well, I think Chandan could be a hint for moonlight. That is Chaturthi. And that is falling exactly after 4 days from now. So after 4 days, the prince makes plans to meet her. Padmavati is very happy and amazed by his intelligence and problem-solving qualities. However, when the prince expresses his desire to marry her father turns down his proposal and tells him that the king of Karanpur actually wants to marry Padmavati, and unfortunately no one can go against his decision. This upsets Vajramukti. They both leave Padmavati's home with the promise that they will come back with a solution. Vajramukti is angered by it, but his friend advises a peaceful way of solving the problem. Just then they see few carts pulling a woman and asking her to leave the village. Vajramukti's friends get curious to find out why. And he comes to know that whoever cheats or betrays in the kingdom is thrown out of the kingdom forever. Vajramukti's friends gets an idea. He chalks out a plan and he manages to enter Padmavati's home and steals all her jewelry. Next morning, worried Padmavati's father goes to the king and complains to him about the theft. The king passes orders to find out the thief, but meanwhile, Vajramukti's friend, disguised as a sage, goes to the king and says, "Last night, a woman wearing this particular jewelry came to me and she told me bad things about the king and his kingdom. She said that the king is very mean and selfish. Well, I did not know what to say. She left all her jewelry with me, and I did not know what to do, so I brought him to you." This enraged the king, and he immediately exiles Padmavati from his kingdom. Padmavati is then left alone in the forest, the outskirts of the town, where both Vajramukti and his friend are waiting for her. This way, she was saved from marrying the king, and they both lived happily ever after. At this point, Bethaal asks Vikram to tell who has committed the biggest sin in the story. Is it Vajramukti, his friend, or the king? Now I shall pause here and have you all think. So tell me, according to you, who is more sinful? Now back to Vikram, he replies that the king has committed the biggest sin. Bethaal asks, why king? Why not Vajramukti's friend? Because he lies to the king, right? Vikram says, the king for sure, because he did not try to investigate the matter. The king had exiled an innocent girl without any proof of evidence. Vajramukti really loved the girl, and his friend did all this to unite them. So, the king has committed the biggest sin. Bethaal is very happy to hear this, but Vikram did not stick to his promise yet again, and so Bethaal is back on the tree. Let's see what happens in the upcoming stories. Will Vikram ever be able to catch Bethaal? Hope you enjoyed this story. But remember, never judge anyone by the opinion of others. Happy listening and see you all soon.